بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أحمد الله رب العالمين حمد عباده الذاكرين الشاكرين وأصلي وأسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم أجمعين أما بعد. uh, brothers and sisters, this is just a small reminder. Subhanallah, we spoke a lot about the importance of good action in these 10 days. The Prophet ﷺ, he said there are no better days in the year in the eyes of Allah but these days. These are the most beloved days to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And action in them is better than going out for jihad, except that a man has went out for jihad with all of what he has of money and wealth and didn't come back with anything. And we overemphasize active deeds, but we don't talk about passive deeds. You see, these 10 days, you can say they are the blueprint for your action throughout the year. So you do qiyam in them, and you do your Quran, and you pray, and you read and you do a lot of dhikr in them, because you're supposed to do this throughout the year. You do good to people you know, people you don't know. You excel in your work. You excel in doing extra deeds. You try to help those who are weak, those who are needy, because you're supposed to do that throughout the whole year. But also throughout the whole year, you have a lot of pain that you endure many times. You have a lot of sorrow. You lose things. People are mean to you. People forget you. People betray you. Or better yet, nothing of those, but you're just bored. You know, someone once said, many times I'm sad and I'm depressed. And I try to formulate, because they're very articulate, I try to formulate why am I sad or why am I upset. And I can come up with little essays that sound nice, but if you try to concise them into one sentence, you can't, because there is no underpinning reason why the person is sad. And I realize that the reason being is simply because I'm in dunya, and simply because I want to go home. I was not created to be in dunya. I was created to be in dunya as a test and then go back home in Jannah. Because we were created in Jannah. Most of us, wherever we come from, if you ask someone who's a third generation Pakistani or Syrian or whatever, if you ask them where you're from, even if they don't speak their mother tongue, their country's language or whatever, or they don't speak Arabic or they don't speak Urdu or whatever, they won't say I'm British. They'll say I'm Pakistani, I'm Bangladeshi, oh, and I'm British. It's the same thing. We are not from here. We're from heaven. We're from Jannah. We just happen to land in different places. And so this idea where in these days you have pain that comes to you, embrace it, accept it, do a lot of istighfar to help you come over it, do a lot of praise on the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, whoever praises me, Allah will praise him 10 times. Whoever praises me, Allah will deplete 10 of his sins. Whoever praises me, Allah will give him 10 deeds. Whoever praises me, Allah will take away his ham and his gham. Ham is something you are worried about in the future. Gham is the pain you feel because of something that came in the past. And so do a lot of that to have perseverance against the passive actions that Allah likes in these days, which is sabr, which is perseverance. Embrace it. You will have a few moments where you are sad. Embrace it. Allah wants to give you the best of deeds during these 10 days, and when the best of deeds you can do actually is sabr. Don't forget, brothers and sisters, Allah gave us 30 days to have a relationship with the Quran, because it's wonderful to sit down or to stand in the night and to have a relationship with the Quran. And it's easier for us, for our bodies to do that than actually to strive in the world and do deeds every day. We are very limited in our capacity. We're very weak. And so Allah gave us only 10 days to do the best of deeds we can do, because He knows that we're limited in the capacity we have. So He sent you this passive action of sabr, of perseverance, in these 10 days. Embrace it. So Allah can write that my servant was perseverant. He had a little depression, a little down, a little fall, a little downhill, and he was still going, and she was still going, and they still believed, and they still had iman. So that's the first thing. Active and passive deeds. Don't just focus on the active. Focus on the passive. You've lost things. You've seen a lot of pain. Embrace it. Take it. All of a sudden you remember something that happened to you and it's just weighing in on you. Take it in. Don't forget it. Don't ignore it. Take it in and do your dhikr. Keep on doing dhikr. You need it. And second of all, and lastly, and this is a bit heavy, but take it with a grain of dhikr, a grain of subhanallah, walhamdulillah, wallahu akbar, la ilaha illallah, wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, and a grain of la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu, lahul mulku wa lahul hamdu wa kullu shay'in qadir. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He gave us 30 days of Ramadan. And then double that, 60 days as a break, a prep for the 10 days, and a follow up to Ramadan to see how we're going to fix the rest of the year. And then He gave us the 10 days, and then double that, 20 days, the rest of the Hijjah, to follow up, see how we're going to plan out the rest of the year with completing our deeds. The first is to see how we're going to plan out the rest of the year in worship. The second stage, which is the 20 days, not the 60 like in the beginning, it's us preparing for how we're going to keep on going with our deeds the rest of the year. If you notice, Ramadan, the Eid comes shortly after, or the 10 days of the Hijjah come shortly after the 30 days of Ramadan. And then it's over. And then we have the fasting period right after. The best month to fast in throughout the whole year after Ramadan is Muharram. And the month of Muharram comes right after the month of Dhul Hijjah. And it's as if Allah is saying, do not always focus on the fact that you're going to live to see next year. Make the best of the season you are in. Make the best of the day you are in, with the deeds you can do, with the relationship you can establish with Allah through dua, talking to Him, conversing with Him, asking Him, pouring your heart out to Him, just discussing things with Him, and then asking. And also doing all those deeds, because it might be the end of the road. Brothers and sisters, we were in Ramadan, but nobody guaranteed we're going to make it out of Ramadan. We made it out of Ramadan, but nobody guaranteed we were going to make it to the 10 days. And now we're in the 10 days. But no one can guarantee that we're going to make it to Arafah, just in a couple of days, inshallah. And when we make it to Arafah, no one can guarantee that we'll make it even to the Yawm al-Adha, Yawm Eid al-Adha, the day of sacrifice. Nobody can guarantee. That's the 10th day, by the way. That 10th day is joy. Allah gave us joy in it, so that we can even get the reward of doing joyous things that we get to do throughout the year in the 10 days. The best of deeds, can part of it be doing acts of joy and bringing joy to people, to their hearts, to family members, to people who are lonely, who don't have family members, when we go and visit them and see them. We do not guarantee anything. So whilst you're doing your dua, whilst you're doing your dhikr, whilst you're doing your deeds, don't be very concerned all the time with, oh, but how am I going to plan the rest of the year? But I still have this problem. I wonder if Allah is going to answer my du'as for the rest of the year. I wonder if He's going to answer this dua and that dua, and this worldly matter that I need for my akhirah. And this, yes, ask Allah and always have a good opinion of Allah. حسن الظن بالله, because أنا عند ظن عبدي بي, I am at the opinion of my slave of me. So always have that. But sometimes if you keep on longing because you think you're going to live for a long time, it's not that you lose hope in Allah. It's you lose hope in the process itself, because time is so long. It's, as human beings, we're not able to comprehend this idea that we'll be here for such a long time, because it's such a bad place to be in, no matter what blessings you have. And this is not my words, it's what Allah says. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, the world is the prison of a believer, and it's the Jannah of the kafir. That is the idea. You feel like you're in a prison. So if you keep on thinking about how long you're going to be sentenced for, even if you're sure Allah can give you a great time here and can help you in every single way and support you in every single way. Ala inna nasrullahi qareeb. Verily, the support of Allah is near. Nasr is support, it's not victory. Fath is victory. You can come to that another time. You still feel depressed because you're looking at life from a lens, from a wide angle lens, that, oh, I have all of this time. But if you look at from a zoom lens, a telephoto lens, which shows you the reality that, like the Prophet ﷺ said, death is nearer to one of you than their own shoelaces. You can bow down and not come back up again. If you look at it that way, you'll be like, I did dua for all of these things, and I might not even make it out of Arafah. I might not even make it to the end of Dhul Hijjah. I might not even make it to the end of Muharram. So I made dua. I made a plan for the rest of the year, for the rest of my life. But I know very well I could leave very soon, and I'm very happy with that. And I will do my best in case I leave soon. If you keep on having that long-term goal of doing great dua and great dhikr of Allah and great Quran to establish a relationship with Allah, but also a short-term goal, where when you're praying, you're thinking about your problems now and how Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim fixes that problem, and Malik Yawm Ad-Din fixes that problem, and Iyaka na'budu wa Iyaka nasta'een fixes this problem. Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim, this is the way I should be to live with this problem. Sirat al-Din al-Amta alayhim, these people had these problems and they passed because Allah gave them the great Sirat. غير المغضوب alayhim, not the ones that you were disappointed with, or you had your wrath upon them because they had this problem that I had, but they did the wrong thing, so your wrath was upon them. A short-term view towards the things you're in right now makes life much easier. And subhanAllah, Allah put these two scenes right next to each other to remind us life itself and the chances you have are not that extended. They're not far away from each other. They're very close because everything ends very quickly. And then you have the rest of the year, if you get to live the rest of the year, to prepare for the next year. You prepare for your next Ramadan, you prepare for your next season. And that's just how it is. Allah gave us this beautiful barakah of bringing these two seasons very close together and not too wide apart. If they were too wide apart, 6 months apart, we wouldn't really feel this urgency in everyday life. Allah shows us this urgency that every day, every week, every month, you have an urgency where you might not live to see the next extension. So that's just something we wanted to remind ourselves of. And may Allah help us practice everything that's been said and heard. May Allah grant us the days of Arafah, the day of Arafah. May Allah grant us the Yawm al-Nahr, the day of sacrifice. May Allah grant us the rest of the Hajj. May Allah grant us every season for the worship of Him, for getting closer to Him. May Allah grant us, Ya Rab, active deeds and passive deeds. The best and the easiest which of are the passive deeds, perseverance and being content with Allah. Perseverance in being content with Allah. آمين آمين وصلى اللهم وصلى على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم أجمعين وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.